Hi, my name is Patrick Ashby, and thanks for taking a few minutes of your time to hear about an opportunity that in fact may change your life as it has mine. This message in particular is for Gen Y, 18 to 29-year-olds. You guys have been dealt a tough hand, and I'm here to share some hope. First thing I can promise you is you're not about to get a glitzy sales pitch. I'm just going to give you the facts straight up. 23 years ago, I was fortunate enough to be mentored by a business professor. In fact, it's a pretty crazy story, but when I was a teenager, I actually worked for the professor as his groundskeeper for Pinehurst Manor, the estate which he owned. I fell in love with this place, especially the waterfalls. 5 years ago, the property came on the market, so I purchased the property, and now I have my first job back as the groundskeeper. I'll tell you more about how I got here in a minute. So let's talk about you for a minute, Gen Y. For the most part, we've been programmed since kindergarten to get a good education. Hit university, college, get the great job, benefits, etc., and live happily ever after. It's been the same message for 50 years, but really we have to step back and see what's really happening. We have an epidemic taking place, and recently the International Labour Organization reported over 74 million young people unemployed throughout the world. Check this CNN report out.
Overeducated, underemployed, that's the story for Generation Y, the so-called millennials. More than a third of recent college grads with jobs are working in a position that doesn't require a degree. In fact, in the pool of 3 million new grads, 152,000 are working in retail, 102,000 as clerks and customer service reps, 94,000 of them are waiters and bartenders. So it might not come as a shock that a huge chunk of the population is checked out at work right now. A new Gallup poll found that 52% of workers are not engaged at work. Another 18% are actively disengaged and dragging down productivity. And millennials are more likely than other generations to be just going through the motions.
One analyst was asked, what should these kids do? And the answer coming back was, well, maybe the universities need to start teaching entrepreneur classes because what these kids really need is a business. Now, you might be saying, that's fine and dandy, but I don't have $100,000 sitting in my bank account to start up a business. So let me share with you the unorthodox way that took me from more than broke to millionaire by starting up a business for just a few $100s. Let me take you back to 1983 when I graduated from high school. My parents wanted me to go to university, and so did I. But I decided to take a year off, and in that year off I discovered the real estate industry, and I started making some decent money. I never did go to university, and then I moved into commercial real estate where I specialized in selling businesses and leasing space to retail operations. In fact, even in my early 20s, I was able to start buying real estate. Now, you're too young to remember this, but your parents will. There was a major recession that happened in the early 90s, and tens of thousands of people went bankrupt. At 27 years old, I was $250,000 in debt. Now, that's not because I bought expensive cars and toys. It was because I was invested in real estate. The mortgages on the properties I owned exceeded the value by a whopping $250,000. In 1991, I received a call from the professor, and he invited me out here to Pinehurst Manor to learn about a business opportunity. I said to him, I really don't want to waste your time. I have no money, and things are really tough right now. And he said, come on out anyway. He explained a new emerging business trend, a more efficient way of getting products from the manufacturer to the end consumer. He shared that people could become an independent contractor for the company and become part of the marketing team. Keep in mind, I was right in the thick of things, seeing my clients lose everything as this recession took a toll. Well, to make a long story short, I did take his advice. He explained to me to find a good, stable company with a consumable product, but most importantly, to partner and be mentored by some people who are very successful in that company. If done correctly, the business will continue to pay royalty income, which becomes a wealth-building machine. He advised me that if you hit it big, start buying income-producing assets instead of expensive cars and toys, and that's what I did. I selected a company in 1992 and found a mentor who was willing to teach me. Within 6 months, I was able to resign my position at RE/MAX and go full-time, and within 2 years, I was completely debt-free. 5 years ago, I retired when I purchased Pinehurst Manor, and my wife and I have been enjoying golf and gardening ever since. When the kids moved out, we turned the manor into a bed and breakfast and hosted weddings and corporate events. Recently, a young man that I first met 6 years ago called me up and said he had a business proposal for me to look at. Jason pulled up in his new Lamborghini, so I instantly had a clue he was doing well. As he unveiled the business of Project 10 Kids and Visalis, I was very, very impressed. My wife and I took the next month and did some due diligence. This young company has done over $1 billion in sales the last few years in only the United States and Canada, and now international expansion is taking place. We flew to the US and met with the 3 young founders and the CEO of the New York Stock Exchange company that has major ownership in the company. We toured the new $10 million office complex in Detroit, and then we started our new journey. I'm happy to say we have now closed the bed and breakfast and we've come out of retirement. We are now holding training and mentoring sessions here at Pinehurst Manor and also via Skype for people who are out of country or out of province. I've partnered with the top people in the company, and we are now searching for young entrepreneurs who are willing to be mentored and trained. If I've caught your attention, then watch these next videos which will introduce you to the company and the partners. Thank you so much for your time, and I do look forward to meeting you in person.